本节目由新行政电动旗舰蓝图追光 PHEV 冠名播出。
不过吧，在飞机上我承认没有经受住考验，我还是吃了冰激凌。飞机经过了13个小时，时间是增加了。
那样的话，以前要到俄国就近了。
啊，对。又回到我第一次出国的时候，1988年点1战争。
是啊，转变我觉得还是比911开始。这实际上就是，全球化就是到那个时候达到我巅峰。
从那个以后，就世界的喧嚣逐渐沉思。哎呀，都还是老样子啊！
对啊，
这都是老店，整整35年前。老西送他太太到奥斯陆去，
那今天就成了那个
西的托。
OK，
反正贝尔根他等于是
散步的好地方，
散步的好地方。你看，像这种啊，都是我生命当中看到的，第一次看到的大商场啊。上海那个时候还没有超市嘛，88年。
所以这个地方你们很熟悉喽。
对，那通讯大概比我要熟很多。因为我虽然在这待了3个月，但
是你可能比我熟悉，你还会开车，你会啊。
但是我成天在家读书，不像你到处溜达。
我在读书，你在玩。这个是以前没有的，
这没有，
记得吧？
我觉得有。
那我的记忆还是80年代的记忆的。
这家有。
对，那个90年代我陪老西到北京，饿肚子了，我就说，哎，这麦当劳不是蛮好？他说他老婆知道的话要杀了他。
对，这我到美国去留学才知道。
对，
我知道你对这个什么家里放电视，
对，
什么吃麦当劳，
特别鄙视。
对。
我们以前看到的那种活杀的这种都没了。这个可能也是 animal rights movement 的啊，能不能啊？
说起
让迅速死亡，没有痛苦。
那说起 animal rights 那个， 辛格你认识吗？
我带了本书，我不认识的。
辛格这种当然了，政治上绝对正确，这没什么说的。
对。
但关于这个 animal rights 这个概念，我个人是不接受。
对，用 rights 这样的词。
对，我觉得这都
也可以是一种 extension，是一种。
对，要夸张点说呢，我就觉得现在就是有点都太往那个方向走了啊。
他现在有 almost vegetable rights 了，
对，
但是现在还没有足够的
这些问题都可以提，但是不要把 rights 仁慈啊、同理啊那种，就是有好多概念。
对，甚至还会讨论，就是人类灭绝的话，有的话，他的 diversity 那么看重，那你 diversity 已经到这非人类的位置了，你还来讨论？对
你的角度我是挺同意的，就是说，就哪些是问题，哪些讨论问题的基础，
对，
至少在特定问题上，这一定还是要明确。
对。
其实说起来呢，这个敏感并不是天然是个坏事，但是呢，后来他就 go overboard 了。
对，就是这样，对。
就现在不讲政治正确啊，什么这些，就弄得现代人在一方面敏感性就特别的强，
对。但
是呢，他对生活的敏感性降低了。他的敏感性不是用来应对这个世界，它是用来区分观念。这就是人的那种互相交流就越来越困难。我们要站着等一会儿，这种一上楼梯，淋雨就要走得很慢很慢。
对，那个时候就4个季节我在上面都去过。
那我是真没有。
那个88年、89年那个时候是可以滑雪的，后来就是像这种地方，你可以看出气候变暖的。这个症状非常非常明显。来，
对，好，谢谢。
现在不是有个说法，就前几个礼拜是人类历史上最热的。
是。
会不会到多少年以后，我们经历的那整个90年代，是人类历史上最好的这个10年？
对，真的
真的有可能的，
真的就是有可能，
是吧？
你想，这2战完了之后，
对，
人类经历了这么大的创伤，痛定思痛，
对，然后
这些文明人的反思，
对，不可思议的。
龟呢？对，也是龟呢。我的眼睛像这。好像几乎都看不见了。这边断断续续就是贝尔根大学了，他们的大学就是一开始有那么2座楼，然后有了钱之后又买一座，就这么散散落落的。
Hello, Gunnar. Hello. You will come up. Okay. 那个老师送他太太到火车站，然后就到我们旅馆去了。然后旅馆没碰到我们，也打电话过来了，然后他过来。
哎呀 ，great。Yeah, we made it.
many years.
Yeah.
Very good.
6 years.
6 years.
And then actually I planned to come to Oslo.
In 2020.
Then I canceled that.
Yeah, he had all the documents ready.
Yes. But we didn't expect that it will last 3 years.
If you had come, you could have stayed here in Bergen for the 3 years.
No,
that would be great.
I could be blamed for bad consequences.
Just let us know if you feel tired.
No. I'm in good shape actually. This is where we had our office, but now it's expanded. That's a problem because each institute has its own building, and you do not get that kind of interdisciplinarity. But everybody thinks it should be so big because it's good.
Yeah, particularly in China. No, we like everything bigger.
Yeah, well, everywhere. Everywhere.
The United States set the bad example.
Yes, exactly. I mean, this was a small university. People went on their doors and knocked on it and said, you are not reflective and you do not know what you are doing. But now we let everybody do what they did. I did it very well, professionally in all ways, but I missed that kind of informal, tough discussions actually. Yeah, we can enter. Yeah.
Have you read Habermas' article? He appeals for negotiation.
Yeah.
So he was criticized across the Western world.
Yes. I think he has some good points. And what he's saying is just empirically true. I mean, if you give weapons to support one part, then you are also causally doing something with what's going on in the battlefield. And do not take the responsibility for what you are doing. I think that's what he's saying. I mean, Aristotle said justice is to treat equal cases equally.
Yeah.
So you should look at what has happened and what's happening. Then you are active in some. There are various ways of being that. I mean, sure. But no, I think it's not a good discussion. Very good. I'll go for this one. One is going for the. Oh, thank you.
I have brand fresh Longjing tea for you.
Okay. Yeah.
We went together to Longjing village.
It was in 91.
91 years.
91.
We, the family of 4, lived in the space of 12 square meters.
I used to tell them when it wasn't allowed to heat because it was south of the Yangtze River.
Yes, and then of course foreigners were very well treated by providing soft seating.
Oh yes. No, it was quite an experience. Quite an experience.
And you visited Eastern European countries even earlier.
65. Elizabeth and I went to Leningrad and in Moscow. And it was in an arrangement by Organization for Peace and Friendship, Miri Druzhba. And it was interesting.
But you were followed by
KGB.
I don't know. But we
70s and 80s.
Well, let me. You see, my first trip to China, 91, and then there was a law change in Norway whereby you were allowed to see the map, as we said. The map is an investigation done by Norwegian Secret Service. And my map started in 65 and went to 91.
Okay.
And it was just bullshit. I mean, things like I read Dostoevsky and things like that. And Marx, yeah, sure, I mean, I like literature. And I read all kinds of political theory. I mean, could I just have read what I'm doing? Yeah, but what KGB did.
But again, Gunnar seems to go along with, with a communist and also with someone right.
Well, I mean, as a teacher, I mean, you get all kind of persons and you have to talk with everybody. Well, things might change.
Yeah, actually, we were talking about the 1990s when Jiaying and I were both actively involved in international academic exchange. Maybe that is the best decade in the whole history of humanity.
Human history.
Yes. Right. Yeah, I see what you want. I see
European integration, globalization.
Yeah. Also at that time, there was a willingness to solve problems in a civilized way with institutions. So even if it's hard, we could solve it. That kind of thing.
It's thought to be possible to have collective action at the international level.
Yes, exactly.
Across political blocs. But suddenly, it changed. We witness this kind of a dramatic change.
But anyhow, I mean, for all topics, in order to know what you know, you should know what you do not know. How could you say, I know that so-and-so complicated issue, but I do not want to listen to the counter-arguments? But how could you then know if you do not know the reasonable counter-arguments? I mean, there are learning processes. And that different learning process again, I mean, some are very instrumental. I mean, I'm no specialist on history, but the Japanese samurai, when they met gunpowder, they had to learn. There are that kind of learning processes, but then there are also more cultural and reflexive ones. I think it's amazing that, I mean, that was the impression I had when I met you and other young people. You who get abroad to learn because you wanted to go back to go do something good for the country.
Yeah, relatively speaking, it's easier for people of our generation to learn from the outside world.
Yeah.
In a way, we know how bad it could be.
Exactly.
Because we experienced the poverty.
Yeah, and that's also here, I mean, because your case, I mean, is extreme, but also in Norway used to be relatively poor. I recall when I came to the United States in '66, then I stayed with a family, and that family had ice cream, 1 liter ice cream in the refrigerator, and I thought, what kind of luxury? Well, time passes, and I mean, things have changed tremendously. Our kids
are somehow used to seeing China as relatively better of everything.
Yes, sure.
So they don't have kind of an urge to learn from outside the world.
And the outside world has become also more divided and problematic. Well, I'm not sure, but I don't think that's the most important reason. One thing is that, maybe I am exaggerating, correct me, but that the Chinese that I met were both proud of the background, but very open to change and to learn from other people. They're proud of the background, do not stop them to learn anything. Tomasello, that's the very stuff with Tomasello saying that it's not instrumental rationality that made humans different from the chimpanzees, but their communication whereby they could hunt down big animals. So the communication is actually what makes us humans.
And then, should we also introduce another distinction? There must have a standard by which you can judge what kind of communication learning process is successful.
Yes.
Which is not.
Exactly, yes.
I think there might be kind of continuity between human society and pre-human evolution. In the pre-human evolution, there is try and error.
Yes.
Try and error is a typical process of learning, right? Can we also apply this try and error to the learning process of the human world? I mean, with the development of the human world, some ideas or beliefs will achieve evolutionary advantages, and some others will finally vanish.
Yes, I imagine.
You know, may I read a little bit thought or even objection?
Yeah, comment.
You know, you are talking about the continuity.
Yes, yes.
I mean, of
yes.
Pre-human and human.
And human, yeah.
But there is a difference. When we define which learning process is successful, we have a standard, which is, this kind of species makes it survival.
Yes. Yeah.
But can we apply the same standard to human history or human beings? I mean, what survives may not be what we like the best.
Okay. Survival of the fittest probably is the worst kind of,
At least you have to think about it.
Yeah. In a sense, social Darwinism has revived. The zero-sum game, all these things.
Actually, it goes to many directions. For example, when we talk about the mind, the mind is equal with the brain. Because the brain is in the process of evolution. When we talk about epistemology, we will talk about moral evolution or things, all along the same direction.
Yes.
I mean,
and can AI?
What human beings are the preparation for AI. All this kind of thinking, I think, they have the same direction, which I really thought.
He's a pessimist.
No, it's not. I might be a pessimist. In what I'm talking about this now, I don't talk about it in the pessimistic point of view. In a way, I'm a Nietzschean. Optimistic.
Okay.
I think for philosophers, the first question and the last question is, who am I? What is a human being?
From what perspective? People these days are talking about emergence. Even human beings itself is kind of a result of emergence. I think probably AI systems will have a certain type of human consciousness in the future, but their consciousness will be like an autist.
I may be on your side. I'm very curious about that. It's a deep and challenge, but I do not want to give up the difference, the essential difference between fallible, bio-social human beings and a robot. But how that should be is, what should be done with it? I mean, in the face of artificial, I don't know. I think people shouldn't be so much of it.
We try.
Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, place.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
陈嘉映，转过来。
陈嘉映，你慢点儿，保护好腰。
一点事都没有。好漂亮！那一好，你帮我看看这新闻，啥东西啊？那是一个。
就这个写信的这个作者，就是他对这个哲学研究那个期刊上的一些文章可能有点意见，就是他觉得那个东西就是不符合他对哲学的那个想法。就他那个想法就是那种
哲学研究上的文章。那我看看他。
但他对的不是您这篇文章，应当也是。
这不停刊吗？
啊，
建议哲学研究停刊。
好家伙！
玩了，太他妈无聊了。跟那块儿就跟我摆脸子，说话不搭理，恨不得要跟我吵架似的。
对，
就从这儿进。
这是50号啊！哎，我怎么有点，这门好像在后面的呀？这，
对，这车不是他的车。
不是啊，不是
啊！你要在美国这么走进来，
已经被 shoot 了，已经。对，在那头那个。
啊，我们在美国的时候还真就碰上一次，啊，这个也是在山上看着一个 view 好，开车，然后就把那车要倒进一个院子里，人马上端着枪就出来了。
Gwenna,
Come on, come on, come on, come. If you want to have something to drink, it's here. And there are some cookies, some apple juice, and you just serve yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. To follow the point we have mentioned yesterday, I had also a feeling that in a modern society, the communication is actually so much easier because of the various kinds of technology.
Yes, yeah.
But I think that a lot of people, they talk too much but do not want to listen to each other. It seems now people are very critical, which is a terrible misunderstanding of criticism. I mean, what is modern rationality? First you have science. I mean, you have physics, you have chemistry, you have physiology, you have anatomy. I mean, there are things in the sciences that we know very, very well, no question about it. But then you have the humanities, and I think it's very important that in the Germanic languages we talk about Wissenschaft, which is much wider.
In Chinese we have a equivalent term.
Wider term.
学术.
Yeah.
学术.
Is broader than science.
So, I mean, first of all, you have to take into consideration not only some natural sciences, but all. Not only physics, but also Darwin, and Freud, and Marx, and Habermas. So there will not be one only answer. Then, if you say my point is the right one, then you have to argue for that.
Yeah.
One has to recognize also that other people have their points that might be equally well-founded. You have to take that into consideration, and your validity claims will have to be adapted accordingly. So I think it should be critique, not criticism as throwing away, but critique of theoretical and practical reason, which means improvement. Improvement in the sense that you understand more of what you think and how you think about it.
Yes.
It gives you honestness with definitions, preciseness, interpretations, etc. These are, I mean, really basic issues, but not everything is good enough.
Do you think the spreading of culture of debating, culture of argumentation has something to do with it? I mean, of course, social or cultural movements on the basis of challenging pre-given ideas or beliefs, but now it goes too far. For example, the issue of sex and gender. I was told that on the whole, people can identify themselves as one of more than dozens of gender identities. I mean, the kernel of this kind of culture is like the question of why should be applied to everything without any exception. But in real life, you need to start from something. You need to take something as a pre-given or as something defining who you are. If something at this level can be easily challenged with the question mark or with the question why. Are we ready? Should we have a second thought? Or should we have a critical attitude towards the critical attitude itself?
Of course we should. But there is a difference. Supposedly, in the past, a whole community may have the same presupposition. For example, the Christians, they don't ask for why, for many measures. But nowadays, I mean, it's really hard to say, I have my presupposition, you have yours. Then I can ask why you have your presupposition. And in the same way, you can ask about mine.
But I guess Gwyneth's response would be like that. The point is not you ask why to other people. The point is you should ask why to ourselves.
But a lot of those happens. I think that's exactly what I want to bring about.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, the people are of different opinions, but now it seems that each opinion goes to the extreme. So you don't have different opinions, you just have two positions, for and against. And then there is the difference in intertwined. Let me talk about China a little bit. My impression is that over the last few years, people have become more keen on the issues which are quite remote from your real life, like pro-Trump or anti-Trump.
Even alumni or classmates can fight each other.
Right. Actually, they are friends break up for that. I mean, for each issue, you may break up with some of your friends. And after a few issues, you have no friend at all. It seems to me that same thing happens in the United States.
Yeah, sure.
And there is no middle ground.
Well, I would go one step further, because it's very much a question today, it seems to me, underlying what we are talking about now, what is identity. I mean, people's views are related to their self-identifications. Very often it's gender, ethnicity, or religion. Yes. But if you look at the modern society, how is the modern society it's science-based.
Yes.
Not only the natural sciences, but all kinds of sciences. Not only that we should take them into account, but very many jobs are dependent on. And then you need institutions, because you can't do it alone. So there are inherent identities. What should be added to this is that when you look at how we are living in modern societies, we are parents, we are scholars, we are doctors, we are patients. If you are in a modern society, and if you are more than in a modern society, you have lots of identities, more and less gradual, going in and out of them all the time. I mean, it's partly epistemic, but it's partly also role-related and partly institutional, and that's my point. These things can't be separated. So the very idea that you in a modern society has basically one identity, and you should react to everything based on that, be it religion or ethnicity. I mean, that if that person really thinks that, well, that person hasn't really adapted to modern society. Then, how you should treat it? Well, differently in different cases according to different persons. But plurality of perspectives is always a very important thing. I mean, that one has to reflect upon one's presuppositions and limitations. But I think it's far too crude and far too simplistic the way it goes today. And it doesn't matter what you think about the wondrous universe, whether it has a meaning or not, in a transcendental sense. When you are a brain surgeon, what matters is that you can do the operation on the patient.
Can we get something to...
Should we take a break and take something to drink?
Yes.
I tend to talk too much.
It's quite okay. I came here to hear.
I really appreciate the way you go straight on problems. So that might be difficult problems in China too. I see that.
Yeah, well, I just don't know, how people are really think, because there is also a generation gap. Yeah.
Did you expect these changes? Were you surprised?
I couldn't imagine that it should be so bad with this post-truth and Trump and all that. I grew up I was a child during the occupation, and there is something very deep in me as to that this is a marvelous place, but a dangerous place. That's more emotional, deep in me. Also, I was very skeptical to the idealistic spirit after the fall of the wall. I felt it was very naive to think that everything would be unproblematic. In that sense, I was not surprised, but that it took the way it did take, that was, I didn't have the fantasy, or, who had,
How about you, Shijun? Do you worry about the future of humankind?
I would rather address this kind of question as what we are going to do.
Yeah, that's the next question.
Yes. So we can understand Karl Marx's remark, what matters is to change the world. I think now, as intellectuals, our major effort is to change the world by interpreting what is happening. I think that's the real challenge.
But talking about interpreting the world, and I don't know. I don't think it's a precise description of what philosophers are doing. First of all, changes take place
Without
without philosophers.
without, of course.
And I think that when you talk about intellectual efforts, in a way, thoughtful intellectual efforts would be just try to maintain some kind of middle ground.
Yeah.
So that people of different positions could still talk about the issues in a rational or semi-rational way.
Yeah.
I think that the polarization of opinions is partly the cause, partly the effect of the disappearance of intellectual discussions.
Yeah.
More or less, the intellectual discussion functions as a kind of building up a platform where different opinions may communicate.
Yeah, right.
And compared with, let's say, 40 years ago or 50 years ago, I think the situation is indeed different. We don't have a strong platform where different opinions may meet and try to persuade each other. I don't know, in Europe maybe the intellectuals can still make some more efforts to rebuild this platform.
But let me ask, where do these discussions take place? There was something about the university before it became so, how should I say, economicalized. I mean, in Norway it's still 70% paid by the state. But the tendency is definitely that more and more goes in the direction of being, how should I say, market adapted. So one thing is then, to follow your point, is what could be done with the universities? I mean, to which extent scholars get together and listen to each other and then produce results, and it should go fast, and produce things that will sell, etc. Where are the fora for those things? I mean,
Yeah.
I had the feeling that maybe it was an illusion, but in the 60s and 70s, I had the feeling that the intellectual epistemic debate was taken more seriously. For instance, criticism of the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
The whole situation was much more bad, but it looked as if things could be improved.
And then I have a little bit different concern. I feel that there are two sides of this kind of discourse.
Yeah.
On the one hand, we talk about whether it's true or not. On this intellectual level, it's the truth of the idea. On the other hand, there is the impact on reality of the idea.
Yeah.
I mean, in different places, it has different impacts.
Yeah. For example, the idea of multiple modernities for a person in the West is a way to overcome Eurocentrism. Is a way to be humble, towards non-European culture or nations. But it can also be used as a kind of excuse not to learn from others. Like even people like Heidegger criticize, Western, modernizer.
Exactly.
Right? Why don't you learn from Heidegger by being self-criticism, right?
I see that.
Yeah.
So, shall we come back a little bit? It seems that nowadays people become more keen on emphasizing the importance of their own feelings. I have this feeling, I insist on it, and I don't have to give any reason for it. That makes all of the intellectual reflection kind of useless.
Yeah, I think so. But I would say you have at least to distinguish between what you feel and physical feelings. like when I get a stone in my stomach, it's painful. But if you feel very brave, you feel very intelligent, that might be wrong. I mean, when it comes to personal feelings, my first point is that there are some basic things, I mean, self-referential questions. For instance, if you say everything is basically power, everything is determined by class or by gender.
That's a kind of a self-refuting.
Yeah, that's self-refuting. So you can't. And then, if you say that the number 7 is very heavy to learn, yeah, but you couldn't say it's more than 20 tons. I mean, because it's not that it's empirically wrong, it's an absurdity, because that concept can't take that kind of things.
Yeah.
Then you have another case that people say, I'm born like such and such, but I do not feel like it, and I am what I feel.
Yeah.
And if you take that wide enough, you say, well, I'm born white, but I feel very much black, so I'm black.
Yeah.
There is also kind of common concept that what people are feeling is what you should respect. Well, yeah, but I mean, feelings might be. I mean, let's think about what is a human being. It's not only about being where we are, but it's also about how do we get there. So you have to smoothen down the strong perceptual claims and be very much aware of well, let me just say that history is also, it matters.
Doch Gott alle gleich. 这个能看到否则了 der Macht. 这是老的德文呢。
Yeah, German is your first foreign language, isn't it? You should see them. These ladies.
Yeah, this is kind of a renaissance.
Glaube, faith, you see it? There you have the book. And love, got 2 kids. Wahrheit, truth.
Truth is naked.
Yeah, the naked truth.
So this is actually Catholic. Because in Protestant church you don't see Maria.
No. But you see, I mean, here we didn't care so much about.
Okay.
We took it a bit more relaxed.
Okay.
Sure, I mean, the building is 900 years from Catholic time. When Luther took over, he could destroy all these nice figures. But here in Norway, he felt that some of the old belief was adapted by Catholicism too. You know, for instance, the word Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. These names are Nordic gods. They're pagan gods. And the Catholic Church accepted.
Okay.
I mean, it does change people's mentality. This is a very special place. Underneath, it was the state bureaucracy. They wrote the law in 1274. And the law they made remained for hundreds of years and was widely spread and well followed. It changed Norwegians deeply. For instance, when you say thank God, we say thank and lov. Takk og lov. Takk og lov. So law was seen as very... And there is a saying, it's still in Old Norwegian, med logom skal land bygge en egen med ulogom øyre. That means you should build the country with law and not destroy it with unlaw.
Okay, so that's deeply rooted.
Deeply rooted here. So the Vikings were strange people. I mean, they were strange people.
Maybe that's because Viking, especially on such a large fleet, you have to have order. You have to have
it's a good point.
Acceptance.
I think in those. I'm not a historian, but if I should explain it, yes, you have to organize a lot of things.
Yes.
To go from here to North America and to Greenland and to survive the winter in Greenland. So state organization, law giving, law making, law following, assemblies with the king, and then gathering of people here. All this matters.
So this museum is now on the list of the UNESCO.
Yes, that is right. And this is one of the most proudest part of our exhibition because Bryggen Museum has the biggest collection of runic sticks in the world. We have business letters, and then here we have poets, and then we here have love letters, and what they said to one another.
Ordinary people's life here.
Yes! And what's so unique with this exhibition is that all the things we're telling you about the everyday life of people in Bergen, not the kings and the queens that we knew of, but just regular people. And that tells so much about the development of Bergen and how it went from the Vikings era to actually becoming a state society. And it's this development that we're going to have a look at. So I'm going to show you these. These are replicas of the sticks that we have, so you'll be able to see what they have looked like.
Okay. Huh.
This one is translated to Gyda says you have to go home.
You should go home?
Yes, Gyda says you have to go home.
Interesting.
So you can just understand that humanity hasn't changed that much over the last 1,000 years. It is some resemblance still today.
Fortunately.
Yes, you can say that. You can.
Yeah.
I love you in the springtime and the fall.
Do you have any guess how the war will end?
I had some understanding of the Russians to start with, but I did not imagine that he would go in for an occupation because I thought it would be unwise. I'm no specialist on it, but the Russians must have been badly informed.
You know, I watched the whole of the TV drama, The People's Servant. Chen Shiji came to power because the whole team wanted to save money of promoting. They said that it's a good idea for us to register in the election in the name of the People's Servant Party. They did not expect that they can win. I mean, it's a kind of a realistic drama. Many social problems in the society actually were reflected in the drama. First of all, corruption. Second of all the people want to live in the country to join EU. But to some degree, Russians saved the Ukraine nation because they have so serious problems. Now all the parties are stood behind.
They were redefined as a nation. Against the Russians. I mean, And I think that the same thing happens to individuals too. I mean, the future moment makes us more clear about who we are.
You know, during the Cuban crisis, there was a critical moment when the technical system went wrong. And,
I know.
The Soviet, officer had to
good point.
Make a
decision in the submarine. He couldn't receive order from Kremlin, and he had to make a decision by himself whether to attack.
It's amazing that at this stage it was the person who took responsibility and used his own judgment.
Yeah.
That's exactly what makes us human beings.
Last evening we had a dinner here.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was not like that before.
So you guys go ahead, and I will sit for a while and catch up.
Okay.
Okay.
He need to stay.
Yeah, I need to sit a little bit.
Yeah.
对，我的腿突然不行了。
I'm still thinking about the earlier discussion. You know, during the Napoleon War, the Norwegians were starving because the British wouldn't allow to get food from the continent. There is a great poem of Henrik Ibsen of a person who was rowing to Denmark to get some food for his wife and child. When he came back, there was a British commander of a ship who took him and brought him to jail. And when he came back, his wife and child died. And this is a true story. Then one day with stormy weather, there is another British ship coming, needing people to help him. And then the person from the ship, his old ship is there. But he has a small child. And then he says, no, I won't. But if it hadn't been for the small child, I would have sunk the whole ship. At that time, he figured out what he values most and found his true self.
Yes. But it's a very demanding,
Sure.
For ordinary people, it's extremely infrequent to encounter life and that situation.
I agree. What does it mean to be a human being and to be oneself?
Yeah.
I think it's very much related to what you do with your life and your family and your friends. I had contacts with people both in Ukraine and in Russia. It started earlier, we still have it. I send Christmas greetings to my friends in both countries. Those who are living in St. Petersburg, they are very happy to get them.
Not many people from the West still does that.
Yeah, I do. Sure.
This is the magic Bay of Fjord, totally untouched by the modern people. It's where I go when I want peace and silence. The presence of nothing.
Presence of nothing is a perfect philosophy.
It is.
But I have to say that for many people, they cannot but feel themselves to be lonely, to be isolated.
Oh, really? That was true.
That's why people in modern times can easily be in kind of a crisis situation.
Okay, the conference begins.